What is going on, you guys? Bastion YGO here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with a very early, or I believe it's early at least, our Yu-Gi-Oh! Banlist prediction for May 2022. I understand that we currently are still in April, at least the time of recording this video, but with May coming up, and the previous Banlist that came out in February saying that it will be coming a few months away, or a little bit ways away, it was very vague from what I remember. So I just want to go ahead and point out how I believe the current format's going and what I believe are the best decisions for the game moving forward. Now, this is more or less going to be just a overall analysis of what I believe, how the format's doing right now, and again, what cards I feel like could be either removed or put back into the game in order to benefit the game in the overall long run. Only bias on one card, which you guys of course will see in just a little bit as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it, guys. So for the Forbidden Limitless prediction that I believe will be potentially coming around May to June 2022, definitely by June, probably by May. It's gonna be, let's go ahead and start off with the Forbidden. So what I see as Forbidden, first of all, is going to be Paraplant, Verte, Anaconda as the first Forbidden card that I'm gonna be going ahead and putting up here. So Verte, Anaconda, and just gonna get my points out there as far as what I believe this card entails, why I believe it should be banned. Yes, we have a lot of extremely strong fusion spells currently in this game. We have Red Eyes Fusion, which a lot of people have forgotten about, but it's still a really strong fusion spell. We have Branded Fusion now, brand new spell card coming out of the Alabastrak Structure deck, which again facilitates and really takes the Despia deck to that next level of a strategy. And then we also have, of course, Fusion Destiny, which is used primarily within the next 3 or 4 months to go ahead and summon out your Destroyer Fusion Phoenix Enforcer and really just have a menacing presence on the board, which is extremely splashable in each and every single deck out there with cards like Celestial and Dasher, which just give you that much more advantage just for summoning a card that can pop on both sides of the field and recur itself in extremely phenomenal fashion, I should say. So why do I believe Verte is the issue? Why not hit the engines? Why not hit the not engines, but why not hit the fusion materials in the event I am going after Celestial and Dasher? Why not go after some of the fusion spells? Essentially, without Verte, those fusion spells become a lot more fair. So no longer will there be a whole bunch of just nonsense decks that can just make Verte and go into it freely. Like, for example, the Tri-Brigade Branded strategy has no business playing Branded Fusion in it. And don't get me wrong, I made a deck profile, I very much like the deck, but it clashes with what Tri-Brigade essentially wants to do, which is just link summon with Beast Warriors. And it feels a little bit forced at that point. And again, Verte is kind of the front force to that. But not only that, like I said, each and every single deck I believe that plays Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, Red Eyes, Dark Dragoon, and now any type of the Despia branded will be playing the Verte Anaconda to just facilitate the plays that much more. And I just think it makes those fusion spells that much more powerful and that much more how should I say, toxic to play against. I think that's a fair word to say it, but that's why I believe Verte Anaconda is finally going to get the boot in this upcoming Forbidden and Limited list. For the second card going under the Forbidden category, we have Artifact Scythe. So Artifact Scythe, if you guys have not played, I believe the last time this card was played maybe 1 to 2 years ago was Vanity's Emptiness. Essentially, it is the same card. Pretty much your opponent can't special summon, but if you get rid of it, then you're good to go, or you gotta wait a turn. One turn can mean a lot in this game. Now I understand there's some strategies that don't revolve around special summoning, True Draco, Fluanderies, things like that, but Monarchs. But when's the last time you saw a True Draco or Monarch top? It's probably been 2-3 years, maybe even longer than that. And essentially, when's the last time you saw Fluanderies get first place? Don't get me wrong, Fluanderies is a fantastic deck and definitely one of the top, I want to say 5-6 decks in the format. However, it's not number one, meaning Artifact Scythe pretty much shuts down each and every single deck out there. I understand it's become a little bit less played as of recent, but it's still an extremely menacing card that a lot of decks are just taking advantage of to essentially secure themselves free wins. And if your opponent does not have a DD Crow or a way to get rid of it, then you're basically screwed as far as that goes as well. So that's why I believe Artifact Scythe should finally be going on the forbidden list. Let's go ahead and get rid of it and move on to the next one. Okay, so this one might cause actually a little bit of backlash, guys, but I really do believe Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew has done its job, has made Prank Kids one of the best decks in the past year or so. But Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew has got to go. I mean, the entire deck is a one-card engine. What does Konami do with one-card engines? We get rid of them. Zodiac, that took a while to get rid of, but we finally got rid of that one. Sword Soul is a very good deck, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't had the immense impact that we initially thought it would, so it can stay for now. But Prank Kids is just absolutely ridiculous. Anyone that you draw, and it's so consistent. We have so many starters. You can play over 20 some starters in the deck and continue to just fill your entire rest of your deck with just hand traps and everything. I think that this is absolutely just outrageous. I mean, Prank Kids have such high consistency as a deck, and why is essentially why it's made one of the top tier decks in the entire format. It's not the most oppressive deck, it's not the most menacing deck, but it's by far the most consistent and gives you the most amount of room in the rest of your deck to go ahead and play oppressive cards. So cards like Forbidden Droplets, cards like Lightning Storm, cards like Triple Tactics Talents, all your hand traps you're going to be playing, other cards that just complete menace to your opponent. So honestly, I think if Prank Kids Meow Meow is finally banned, I think that Prank Kids will take a huge hit as far as what it's able to do, but it will force Prank Kids players, and I am a Prank Kids player myself. I have played this deck for quite a bit in the past, and I know the power of Meow Meow Mew. I love playing the deck when Meow Meow Mew was at 3, absolutely just ridiculous. This has made the entire deck way too powerful and way too strong, especially with the current format the way it is. I think Meow Meow Mew is definitely on the line as far as potentially getting hit on the Forbidden Limited list to finally go to 0. So now we're going to be getting into the limited section of the Forbidden Limited list, and I am going to be putting Mystic Mine as my first pick to be limited. Mystic Mine has just always been an unhealthy card, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So Mystic Mine has actually seen a lot of more competitive play recently, being played in Sky Striker, decks like Eldritch, things like that as well. So I believe Mystic Mine is just a card that turns off the entire board and prevents interaction between yourself and your opponent. That's why I'm not a big fan of the card. Don't get me wrong, as a human being, I love this card. As a human being and a player out there, I love this card because it allows me to play a lot of my non-meta decks and take them to a higher level. However, as someone who is opinionated and someone who wants to also make sure that the game has longevity and is fair, that's where I guess I tend to struggle a little bit with that as far as my opinion goes. However, I do feel strongly that Mystic Mine should not be a 3 of at all. It'll most likely get a hit to 2 on the next Forbidden Limited list potentially, but I do think that at 1 it would be a lot more fair in that sense as well. You could play cards like Metaverse, you could play cards like Set Rotation to get more access to it as well. So it's still going to be a menacing force, but not nearly as much when you have it at 3 and you have to continuously just get rid of it as an opponent playing the opposing Mystic Mine. Second card on the limited list, guys, is going to be Denglong, First of the Yang Zing. This card has been forbidden for a while now. I think ever since that the dinosaur structure first came out and really just took full advantage of Denglong and with Jirakiolo, things like that, way back in the day. But this card's been gone for a while. I do not think it has the same power as it once did. Especially we did get some new Yang Zing support, I believe, in Power of Elements. I may be mistaken on that one, but we are going to be getting some new Yang Zing support coming soon. So if they want to go ahead, if Konami wants to go ahead and sell as much of that product as possible, I think Denglong coming back will be a huge boost to the strategy overall. And I, again, do not see it being as menacing a strategy as it once was. For the semi-limit version, the semi-limit version is a joke, so we will not be doing that one. Skipped right over that one. I'm going to go ahead and put nothing there because it's absolutely just useless. The unlimited, this is where I want to go ahead and make a stand. So first things first, Called by the Grave. needs to be at 3. We have Crossout Designator. It is a far more impactful card, I personally believe, and it is at 3. It is not as played nearly as much. People just prefer having the one of Called by the Grave. Honestly, I just think that we need a hard counter for all these hand traps that are getting played. I mean, essentially, we're playing in a format where 12 to 15 hand traps is standard in your main deck, and that's absolutely ridiculous. To have that much firepower in your hand and have no way to combat it unless you have Crossout Designator or something like that. Now, I do get from a business perspective, it is better to go ahead and actually ban Called by the Grave so that way people can actually invest more in the Crossout Designators. However, from a, I guess, competitive standpoint, I believe we better go ahead and have Called by the Grave at 3. And along with this is the second selection for the unlimited list, which is going to be Max C. Yes, Max C should come back to 3, I personally believe. We have seen it. What essentially it can do in Master Duel. We have seen that we have very willingly given in to go ahead and playing it in Master Duel, and I don't really see it being end all be all. It is a phenomenal card, don't get me wrong, but if we have cards like Called by the Grave, Crossout Designator at 3, and then Max C in the format, I think it checks itself. And also we have Ash Blossom as well, so that's 3 counters that are most likely to be main decked by most decks in the format as well, to go ahead and just have that firepower against probably one of the best cards ever printed, that because it has so many counters, it makes the card fair, if that makes sense. So I think Maxi should come back to 3 sooner rather than later. Next card needs to come off the ban list is going to be Masterpiece, the true Draco slaying king. So Masterpiece was a absolutely brutal card to go ahead and face back in 2018. Maximum Crisis, I believe, actually came out in 2017. Around that time period when Masterpiece first came out, it was unstoppable to go ahead and get around. It was basically going up against Masterpiece was one of the toughest things he had to do, because not only was it unaffected by either monsters and spells, or spells and traps, or monster traps, things like that, so you could go ahead and counter whatever your opponent was playing, but it's just a phenomenal card again to go ahead and continuously pop cards on your opponent's side of the field as well. So I think Masterpiece is a extremely powerful card. However, we have a lot of cards that cannot be destroyed by battle, cannot be destroyed by card effects, are unaffected, that are currently in the format and that we naturally deal with on a day-to-day basis. Also to consider, Dragonic Diagram is still not at 3 in the TCG, so essentially the deck is still very, very low consistency, but I think Masterpiece coming back to 3 could be a huge boost to the deck and potentially make it a tier 2 to tier 1.5, not 1, tier 1.5 deck. Now if Dragonic Diagram comes back, then that's a whole different story, and the deck is going to be absolutely just busted to play. And for the last card I'm going to be including in the Forbidden Limited, guys, is just bring Life Stage back to 3. I just want Life Stage. I want to play Trickstars again. I want to be able to go ahead and play the deck without feeling like I'm dragging in mud, essentially. It feels like when you're playing Trickstar, you're just playing in quicksand because it's so slow and you're not doing anything. It's so frustrating. The deck has no consistency. I just want Life Stage to 3. But that is going to be it for the video, guys. I just want to go ahead and get my ideas on some of the cards that I believe could be coming in and off the Forbidden Limited list. Of course, Life Stage is more or less like a joke with slightly higher biased selection for myself. I absolutely love the deck, but the other ones I definitely believe could be coming true, and we're going to be doing probably 1 or 2 more predictions before the actual ban list comes out. We'll again see how the format goes in that direction. So there's 2 things that I did not even touch on the Forbidden Limited list, and that was the adventure token engine, and then of course the Despia Fallen Albaz. Despia Albaz has been so far the past week or 2 a very, very good deck. I do not see it being tier 0, of course. It is just a very competitive deck, and I think it folds very, very well into the format. I do not think it is extremely overwhelming. And then for the adventure package, I think it is just way, way too new in order for us to be making decisions like, oh, this is absolute garbage, we should go ahead and get rid of this whole engine. It's a very strong engine, don't get me wrong, but it's way too soon. We've only had it for like, what, 2-3 months? It's way too soon to be hitting it to 2 or to 1 or banning everything all outright. I just think give it some time. Token Collector is still a phenomenal card against that strategy. Ghost Ogre as well, one of the best hand traps, again, called by the grave to 3, and that is why I did not mention those two engine/decks in this Forbidden Limitless prediction video. But like I said, we're going to be doing a few more of these going down the line, again, seeing how the format blends in the future. But if you guys did enjoy, go ahead and leave a like on the video. What cards do you believe should be on this Forbidden Limitless? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below, and subscribe for more videos, guys, and I'll go and see you guys in the next one.